They just started my time. Sit down. Did she say little drummer boy? I was back there panicking and I thought I heard it, but anyway. So today I've been asked to come out and talk about progesterol and Ciaga, which is easy for me because it's a couple of my favorite things. But it also does something that it answers the big question. And the big question I get at every single meeting is, what do I lead with? What do I tell people about first? What do I put them on the first time I sit down and talk to them? And you know, when you look at what's going on in the world as far as health and what's going on with our food supply and how you want to make an impact, the biggest impact on people and basically the health of the country, it does come back to simple things like Ciaga and progesterol. And when you look at how Nikken launched years ago, it's been over 20 years they've been in the US, and they focused on something that is now becoming the biggest issue in health. And that is sleep and homeostasis, balancing the body, but it's directly related to the quality of your water, your sleep, and the light that you're exposed to. There's decades of studies now coming out of the National Institute of Health that's just based on how the entire health of the country, all the disease rates with diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, Alzheimer's, are all coming back to the core issue of sleep and light and water and how the body is just thrown off of its rhythm. And so you look at the fact that Nikken has been involved in this for 20 years, and they progressed to where now they're into Healthy Child, and they're moving into these areas, which should be a concern for everybody in the country. There's nothing more important than setting an example and creating a world for our children to exist in where they have the greatest chance to thrive and survive. We spend all this money educating our kids, and we don't feed them right. We don't give them the opportunity to have the best nutrition and the opportunity to feel the best when they leave the house and go out into the world. So Nikken, as I've been in this company, it's been a huge learning process for me. I know a lot of you people think I'm actually smart, but the reality is that I've just been exposed to a lot of very fascinating things. And I always bring a common sense attitude to everything that I hear. So it's easy for me to categorize things and see how it actually works. And when you look at the fact that you're exposed to the idea of just getting sleep and how that affects every hormone in your body and every single aspect of your health revolves around that one activity. Right? So what you're doing, really, when you look at the technologies, is you're establishing a baseline of health by which the body has its best chance to actually thrive. And once you establish that, then Nikken comes along and they have these little products that you can actually add in to even boost that up to another level. Now, when Nikken got involved with Healthy Child, I thought that was one of the most important things they could ever do. And they laid the groundwork for that by just having the whole novel concept of a healthy home. Because what makes a greater impact on a healthy child than setting up a home to where people are just aware and conscious about everything that they do? They sleep in a great environment, they're breathing clean air, they're drinking clean water. You know, when they came out with the waterfall, I know I'm only supposed to talk about Ciaga and progesterol, and I'm getting to it. I still got 603 here. But when they came out with the waterfall, you would think it's a simple little thing, but you know what happened with my kids? I have a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old and a 16-year-old, but with the 7-year-old, she immediately drank twice as much water. She just loved the idea of it. She put the rocks in it. She no longer had to reach over the sink to get a glass of water. And all of a sudden, I'm filling that thing up a couple times a day because their awareness has been awakened just by the fact that they see it. It's part of our family. And so we've established that with the Healthy Home, and now you move into Healthy Child. And what's more important than having a product like Ciaga? You know, we think about it usually in terms of ourselves. What can I take? What can I do for my health? And Ciaga is great for adults. But when you realize that children have a worse time with our environment than adults do, they don't have the same antioxidant system working in their body or the same immune system that allows them or protects them from dangers in the environment. So their body actually needs more help than ours. You give them something like Ciaga, which they all love. They love the taste of it. And it covers a type of antioxidant that's probably the most important for anybody. It's anthocyanins. And so that type of an antioxidant protects all your cells from free radicals, from pesticides in the environment. You know, kids don't break down pesticides the same way adults do. They don't have that system built up in their liver by which they bind with carcinogens and move it out of their system. It's so important that we don't expose them to these things. And now you have a product like Ciaga that you don't even have to talk them into drinking. Usually you have to hide it from them so they don't drink it too much. And so you have this protective quality now to where you're creating this environment again, and they become aware of these issues. And that awareness will never leave them throughout their life. The fact that they grew up in a home and they're breathing great air, they're drinking clean water, they're taking supplements, that just becomes part of their lifestyle. No different than if you were exposing them to negative things and they grow up and have that same habit. But you know, the whole thing that everybody misses, and I see this all the time, when they think about healthy child, healthy home, what is the number one thing that a healthy child actually needs to succeed? A healthy adult. We never talk about healthy adult. We never talk about the fact that that child needs somebody there for their journey for their entire life. And so if they miss out on that, they're missing the one thing that will impact them the most for the rest of their life. You look at things like bergisterol and you think, well, it's just a fruit extract. It's, you know, a simple little orange that nobody really likes to eat. And so they end up making a supplement out of it, you know. So, but the reality is, when you look at how health is going in this country, and I always use this example, I love it because it's a great way of looking at what the medical system is doing. And you look at heart disease. We've had 25 years now of attacking heart disease with pharmaceutical drugs. And everybody goes on a certain program, they're all getting the same drugs. 20 years, 25 years of spending $20 billion a year on statin drugs, and heart disease has gone from the #2 killer to the #1 killer in America. What does that tell you? Everybody's missing the boat on something. And now you have a common food, a type of orange put into a bottle that you can drink, and it has a better clinical trial for every phase of heart disease of any drug ever tested in modern medicine. You don't have it, you probably, it doesn't sink in how profound that is, that you have a fruit, a food, a whole food that exists in nature that regulated cholesterol, gave you more of the good, less of the bad, had an impact on triglycerides, lowered blood pressure, and had an effect on your sugar in your bloodstream, all in the same clinical trial, and all they were taking was a fruit. And right there you have covered every aspect of cardiovascular health in that one little trial from drinking a couple of shots of liquid. And the reality is, you asked that big question at the meeting, what should I lead with? There's not a single adult, there's no one in this room that doesn't need to take that at least twice a day for a few months. No one. Heart disease starts, nowadays, it starts when you're 10 years old. They're already testing teenagers that are beginning with it. They have bad problems by the time they're 15 because of the diet. Everybody should be doing something every day that's completely painless, easy to do, economical, and makes the greatest impact on your health of any supplement you could ever take. The problem with heart disease, and there's a problem with every disease, but the problem with heart disease is that you don't get a chance to form a plan of attack. The first symptom of heart disease is a heart attack. Half the people that have that, it's their last symptom also. And so you just have to look at the fact that you have these basic juices made out of whole foods that you can introduce into your system that can make the greatest impact not only on your kids, but on yourself, and have the greatest actual impact on making sure that you're that healthy adult that leads that child through their life to become that healthy adult and to take the story farther and farther and farther. So as we leave here this weekend, We all go back out into the world. You know, we're all out there doing what Nikan distributors do. We're sharing, we're caring, we're loving people and turning them on to knowledge. Don't forget the fact that we have to take care of everyone. You have the technologies to do it, and you have these simple products that you can lead with anybody, and they'll have results and they'll benefit from it. I want to thank you all for having me here. I was almost on time.